or what is inspiring your next painting? I've been a painter professionally for over 20 years, and one habit that serves me best in keeping my creative juices flowing is always thinking of my next. Next? What is that, you might be wondering? My next inspiration, my next infatuation, my next small, easily attempted idea. And so recently, I discovered Hikari Takeda. And oh my goodness, friends, his work is incredible. So basically, to generalize, he uses illustrations of flowers, so you know I'm in love, and composes these pet portraits, these animal portraits from tiny little flowers and petals and leaves, and oh, they're just exquisite. And I was so inspired by this idea, I decided to put my own little spin on it. So I hope you'll join me and try it out yourself. For supplies today, we are using Academy's hot press watercolor paper. It's got a nice smooth finish. I'm gonna be using a favorite brush pen of mine. It's the Kuretake AI, my Art for Joy's Sake watercolor palette, and some brushes from the Art for Joy's Sake collection. Now, I've decided to pull out a little illustration from a previous project where I sketched a whole bunch of different little fun things, and I'll link that below. But I'm going to grab the fox and kind of blow him up, make him nice and big on this sheet of paper, and then fill him with flowers. So let's get to it. Starting with basic shapes using a pencil here. This is a 2B Jumbo from Faber-Castell. And 2 circles, one for the bottom of his body and one for the head. And that way I'll be able to start to map out the space in between, or the neck that connects the 2 circles. Pay attention to the angle of the neck where the 2 circles are connected. Make sure you're getting that angle right compared to what I have on screen. Use your pencil as a guide to kind of size up visually that angle. And remember to use a light touch with the pencil when you're roughing in shapes. That way, if you do need to erase, like I am right now, that line will just completely disappear effortlessly. This is definitely a stylized fox or a more cartoony fox, definitely deviating from our inspiration artist and his more obvious realism, but I'm okay with that. Notice that the fox's head is definitely obviously tilted upwards, and the placement of that nose actually curves even more upwards than his forehead or the front of his face. That very tip of his nose could even become another oval if you wanted to generalize the shapes there in the head even more. As you get more confident with your basic roughing out of shapes, you can start to go in with a heavier line if you'd like with the pencil, or you can save that heavier line for the work that we're gonna do with the brush pen coming up really soon. I'm gonna go ahead and pop up a little picture-in-picture action of the original fox sketch that I'm working from, and hopefully that'll help you out too. Okay, friends, I totally lied. I'm not using the Kuretake AI. I'm using another Kuretake brush pen that actually mimics the look and the hand feel of a bamboo brush, which is really fun. So anyway, this is the point where you can start to work in all of that beautiful brush work, line work for your final outline. And this is really stress-free because you've already done all the difficult work of mapping out the basic shapes and really kind of refining your illustration and your lines. Now you're just going over top of that pencil and really having fun with line quality. And remember, line quality is how thick or thin your line is. And with these brush pens, you press down, you get a thicker line, you lift up, you get a thinner line, and everything glorious in between. I'm gonna go ahead and link a video below where I talk a lot more about brush pens and all their magic, so check that out. All right, now I'm starting to add flower, floral detailing pattern inside the fox. And I have some pieces that I just picked from like my dyeing baskets outside just to have some reference, but you don't need any reference. You can just draw flowers from your head, draw what you love, what you're comfortable with, or pull up a few inspiration photos online and have at it. So let's just chill a little bit and fill up this lovely little fox. Just a couple of things I'm keeping in mind as I fill the fox, making sure that there is somewhat of a focal point and that I'm varying the sizes of my elements a little bit. But truly, it's gonna be really hard to mess this up because your focal point is already the fox. So even if everything inside the fox were kind of the same size, it would still feel balanced. And more importantly, it would still feel interesting. All right, heading in with watercolor markers today. Primarily, I'll be using my watercolor markers that are in development right now, and I will also be using my Art for Joy's Sake palette here and there sparingly. So here's the thing, friends. I am not, nor do I need to walk you through every small step of filling in this painting, because at this stage, I've basically created my own watercoloring book page, essentially, right? So here's the technique that I'm using, and then you can just repeat that again and again. With the watercolor marker, right onto the dry page, I'll dab in some color. I don't care if it's perfectly filled in, if it's smooth, I'll just dab it in. But then quickly, with a brush loaded with clean water, I will go ahead and start spreading around or smoothing around or washing out that color that I just applied with the marker. Now you can compound that. You can scrub on, draw on, marker on, whatever you want to call it, some color, and then go ahead and follow up with another color right next to the first. You can even do that with a third color right next to the second, and then blend. Or you can do the blending in between the addition of each color. Here's the flower that I'm considering my focal point. I added the red. I'm going right next to that with the pink, and then going in with my brush that already had a little yellow on it and blending. And look, I just feel like that's magic. Like, what were those pens? They were like sold on TV. They were like some kind of magic pen. I just feel like this is that, but like cooler. I don't know. What do you think, friends? Head into comments. Let me know if you're excited about this particular technique with watercolor markers, or if you're just really excited about drawing a little critter and filling it with flowers. Let me know what has you jazzed about this video. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit the boop button. That's the like button if you're having a good time. All right, so same thing goes. Just add some more color from your marker right onto the page, and then with a damp, clean brush, spread it around. And of course, if you want to pick up a little color on your brush from the palette and bring that to the page in addition to the watercolor marker marks, then by all means, do it. might be wondering, Christy, the fox's fur is red primarily, or orange. How are you kind of keeping that vibe? So you'll notice in kind of the upper body into the face, I am gradually getting more monochromatic with my coloring, or my watercoloring, if you will. And so I'm kind of transitioning to more bold greens at the bottom near the tail, and then mixing the greens and the oranges in the middle, and then going full on orange at the top. I wasn't sure if this was going to work, but now that I've got a good amount of color on the page, I'm seeing that it is working. The other thing that you could do is use green throughout. If you have your piece filled with a lot of leaves and greenery, use green on the leaves proper, but then the background can become different shades of oranges, reds, and all the in-betweens. And I think that would work really well too. Okay, off topic side note, let me know if you've ever noticed the light changing in my videos. Today, I think it's really obvious. I film exclusively in natural light. I've got a big bank of windows in my studio here, and today the sun is out, but there's tons of clouds in the sky, and the light keeps shifting. I think it's kind of cool. It used to annoy me, but now I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, head into comments, let me know if you've noticed that before, or if it's annoying. If it is annoying, I will try to fix it. I mean, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll try. Okay, friends, you are totally ready after this foxy lady to go ahead and give a few more sketchy line and wash art moments a try. So this video is going to help you out with that. I can't wait to see you next time. And until then, happy painting.